G5 jet. I'm on my way to a brand new kit.
All right, welcome back, eSIMstudios YouTube channel. We are live on this Wednesday afternoon. I guess it's evening. It's going to be a quick show, kind of like yesterday. Real busy at the moment, but I wanted to hit on today's topics because we have some really good news for Android lovers out there, tech lovers out there. Good news. So, before we get started, let me test my volume here. Always gonna make sure. I hate it when I'm like on mute or the audio doesn't work and I talk for like 2 minutes and it goes to waste. Yeah. Audio sounds good. So we have some really interesting news that I wanted to get into. Before we get into the interesting tech news, I want to ask, how are you doing today? Hope you had a wonderful day. Mine was super freaking busy. In a rush to get all my taxes done. Got them done, got them submitted. Whew, man, hate this time of the year, but it's a price you gotta pay. Living here in the US and doing business in the US. Let's see here. So, before we get started, Lyca Mobile, new sponsor of the channel. Lyca Mobile. They have a fantastic deal for all eSIMstudios YouTube channels. And they have multiple deals, but the one that they're promoting is the 18 gigs of high-speed 5G data per month, 10 gigs high-speed 5G data hotspot, and you get unlimited talk, unlimited text to over 100 countries around the world. Get this. This is the best part. $7.50. It's almost laughable how cheap it is. $7.50. I was just checking my T-Mobile bill right now. I'm like, yo, what the hell am I doing? I think I'm gonna jump. I'm not even, or at least get my business, my second line on Lyca Mobile. I'm telling you, only after a few more times where I take a look at how cheap, how expensive T-Mobile is, I think I'm gonna make the jump. Anyways. They also have an unlimited plan. They have a bunch of different plans. It's not just one or two plans. Lyca Mobile has like, I don't know, 6 or 7 plans, and they're all cheap. They're all inexpensive, but have, tremendous upside. They offer a great service, and it's not going to break the bank. Check them out. Go look. Do me a favor. Just go down in the link below, and just select Lyca Mobile and see what they have to offer. I promise, even if you want unlimited data, you want an unlimited plan, they got you covered. Pretty freaking good deals. Now, let me do this. I need to share my screen. Hey, what's going on, brother? Glad you were able to join us today. You're usually here every day. Thank you. As I mentioned, quick show, a lot of info. We'll blaze through this. I also have show notes down below. If you want to explore, want to go a little more in depth on the topics that we're discussing today, simply go down to the description box. And to do that, you just hit the title right underneath this video. Just select the title. It'll expand the description box, and then you can scroll through there. Show notes, hit that link. It'll take you to a shared Google Docs document. And then I have show notes with bullet points and then links to the sources. We source our information here. I can't guarantee it every single time, but I'm trying. Like today, I could have started sooner, but I was like, you know what? I got to get my show notes. I got to get my sources. Somebody called me out, I don't know, a couple weeks ago on a source that I did not have linked down below. And I was like, damn it. Need to remember to add those. So anyways, I replied back to his comment with a link to my source. So how's it going? Appreciate you joining us today. Thank you very much. So, let me share my screen here. Let me share my screen and we'll get rolling. Let's see. We got Samsung news, obviously. We got Motorola news. We got FCC news and Snapdragon Qualcomm news. Vivo news. Did I mention that? No? Well, we got it. So let me open up this link. Let me open up this link. Let me open up this link and then one more. We got 4. We'll see if we can get through them. I may have to jump out of here. but we'll give it a shot. So, all right, I think we're ready to roll. I think we are ready. Yeah, you too. I hope you're having a good day. Tell you a funny story, man. To be honest with you, I have a lot of funny stories. Like when I was wild and crazy in my teenage years and in my 20s, I was a wild boy. Settled down a little bit now that married, family, child, but isn't that's how it's supposed to go, right? Like wild and crazy in your teenage years, and I just don't have time right now. I'm time crunched. If you can remind me, maybe over in maybe tomorrow's live stream or sometime this weekend, I'll see if I can pull one out of it. A lot of my memories kind of fuzzy back in those days, if you know what I mean. But I'll try to come up with something for you. I don't even know how I'm alive right now. Like seriously, like how sometimes I'll think about my younger years or when I was single. I don't even know how I'm sitting here right now. But remind me on another date, and I'll try to enlighten you or entertain you with some stories. Let's see here. So, wow. Oppo Find X9 Ultra, that we've been reviewing talking about the last couple of days. Now we got Vivo X300 Ultra going global. So not just Oppo, but Vivo. Now I've never had a Vivo phone. This looks pretty badass. It looks like it's going to compete directly with the Oppo Find X9 Ultra. I have so many devices up here. It's hard for me to select one on cue. I got to think for a minute. Global rollout for this. So it's going to compete head to head with the Oppo. For US buyers, I think we're screwed, quite honestly. I don't think we're going to have availability for this or the Oppo, to be 100% honest with you. If you asked me a month ago, I was giddy inside. I was excited. Ooh, we're going to get the new Oppo phones. They're going global. Because, the CEO announced it. I think that's what somebody called me out on. How do you know it's coming to the US? I said, well, the CEO said it's global. But that was a month ago. Now, a lot has changed in 30 days, especially for us here in the US. For everybody else outside the US, business as usual. If you're living in here inside the United States borders, you're getting screwed like usual. We're used to it here. It's one of those things. Look, you have some pros and some cons no matter where you live. Obviously, the United States has some pros, but technology is not one of them. We typically get screwed. It seems like everybody else in most other countries have the option, have more options, have more items, devices available, just all sorts of stuff. We got this stupid FCC doing these bans, which we're going to get to later. They did a ban on a Wi-Fi routers that are not made in the US. Really? Well, they're going to let one fly through. I'll let you know which one. But let's get back to this Vivo X300. So this looks phenomenal. It looks like it's going to be a photography master right along with the Oppo Find X9 Ultra. This thing's going to take probably top 1 or top 2 pictures, top 1 or top 2 video as well. It's going to come with a camera kit. Well, I'm sure that's extra. You're going to have to pay extra for that, just like with the Oppo Find X9 Ultra. But the Vivo X300 Ultra has officially launched globally, positioning itself as a professional video powerhouse on Android with its advanced camera hardware, including a massive sensor array and modular lens extenders. Remember, Oppo has that weird super long name for their media kit. I can't even remember what it's called. It's called like Ultra Tree Video Master Plex. I don't know, something like that. Key specs for this, it's going to be similar to the Oppo. You're going to get the Snapdragon 8 Elite Gen 5. You're going to get 16 gigs of RAM, 6,000 milliamp hour battery, 100 watt wired charging, 6.82 inch QHD plus LTPO 2.0 OLED display, all housed in a IP69 rated water dust resistant frame. Now this device features the Zeiss Master Lens Collection with 3 high performance prime lenses. Y'all ready? 200 megapixel 35 millimeter documentary camera, 200 megapixel 85 millimeter periscope telephoto lens with gimbal stabilization, and a 50 megapixel 14 millimeter ultra wide lens. So you have three professional lenses that are probably going to blow your socks off if you purchase this. If you're a photographer, I think it's pretty clear now that if you want the very best photo and video, get you this Vivo X300 Ultra, get you an Oppo Find X9 Ultra. It looks like a no-brainer, right? I mean, it's just, hey, what's going on, man? Appreciate you joining us today. Thank you very much. We were just talking about this Vivo X300 Ultra. It's going global, minus the probably you and I here in the United States. But again, you can grab one if you really want one. And when they become available on eBay, they might be already. I haven't checked today, but over the next week, over the next month, every few days, I'm going to check, keep an eye on the prices, because obviously right when they're launched, high prices. But you let a month pass, you let 6 weeks go by, the prices come down, and you should be able to get one for a decent price. And you can always finance it through on eBay. What is it? Klarna and PayPal and all that stuff if you don't want to pay the full $1,000 up front. Now, the videography capabilities are extensive. So this looks to be a video beast as well. They're promoting this one as a motion picture, as a movie type of lens, because the Oppo Find X9 Ultra, while I'm sure it takes really good video quality, that I looked at all, I went to go back and look at all of their promotional content, and it's more towards still photo. Now they had a mention, I think one mention of how good the video is, but on this Vivo, they're basically doing the opposite. They're continually talking about the video quality that this takes, and of course they talk every now and then about good photo quality, still photo quality. But this one looks like if you are want to make movies from a phone, this is probably what you're going to want to get. It offers 4K 120 frames per second recording across all of the rear sensors. Not just one main sensor where you can go slow-mo. No, all 4 sensors on the back do 4K 120 frames per second. How crazy is that? It has 10-bit log video, which we would expect. It's got Dolby Vision support, a real-time LUT support, and the option for physical telephoto extenders up to 400 millimeters. Wow, that is crazy. It looks relatively the same as the Oppo. I'm sure it's going to be priced right around the same. Now, what does this say? While North American users are often limited to the big 3 smartphone brands, Vivo has spent the last few years building some of the most impressive camera hardware in the world. This is being positioned as arguably the professional video powerhouse on Android. See what I'm saying? And I didn't even read this article before I sourced it. I just needed something so we could talk about it, because I kind of did my homework before, but this looks badass. As I mentioned, both the Vivo X300 and the Oppo Find X9 Ultra will take great videos and pictures, but it seems like if you kind of lean more towards doing video content, probably going to need to get the Vivo. If you just care about really good still photos, camera quality, probably going to lean towards the Oppo Find X9 Ultra. But either one is going to take really good both photo and video. See what I'm saying? It'll be interesting to see where DxOMark Mark has these ranked. In fact, do they have them ranked already? Let's go see. DxOMark camera rankings. I might not be able to get through all of our stories today, but let's check it out. Kind of going off course here a little bit, but that's what we do over here. Okay. The hell? Oh man, I did camera. I meant phone. All right, what we got? Ooh. What? We had the Vivo Pura 80 Ultra. I have no idea what that is. Vivo X300 Pro. That's the Pro model. Now, the one we're talking about today is the Ultra model. And then you have the Oppo Find X8 Ultra. Well, guess what? The X9 Ultra is coming out. So the 1-year-old Find X8 Ultra is already at number 3. And it's been at the top of the list, I'm assuming, for the last year. And now the Ultra is coming in. So look, we'll revisit this maybe in a couple weeks, and I'm sure the Pura, the Huawei phone, looks. I have no idea what that is, but I'm sure the X300 Ultra and X9 Ultra, both from Vivo and Oppo, will be 1 or 2. I'm sure. We will revisit this, but looks to be badass, and I can't wait. I really want to get my hands on one of these. I don't know. I might actually go for this Vivo since it does better video and I'm on YouTube. But I don't think, but honestly, I think I might, lean towards Oppo just because of the OnePlus connection. So I think anyways, I don't even know what software Vivo runs on. I mean, I know it's Android, but I don't know what their skin name is. Never used a Vivo phone before, but yeah, it looks incredible. It looks incredible. All right. Moto Razr Fold. So, interestingly enough, I was doing notes for this for the show today, and I was like, damn, I mistyped it. I saw on my notes Moto Razr Fold release, and I was like, damn, it shouldn't be the Moto Signature Fold. And I went back and deleted the fold and typed in signature, and then I see this article a few minutes before I hit the live button. I'm like, holy crap, it does say Razer. So whatever happened to their Moto Signature Fold? Are they just that they did at Mobile World Congress and CES? Are they just changing the name? Is the Signature just the candy bar style phone, and then they're going to do Razer for their foldables? Maybe you can answer, maybe not, but we'll find the answer at some point. The Moto Razr Fold. This is what it's going to be called. They're foldable. They're book style that competes against the Fold 7, right? So the Moto Razr Fold pre-orders are open. Release date implied for May the 6th, coming up pretty soon. So Motorola is set to launch its first book style foldable phone, the Razr Fold. I think that name fits it a little better, Razr Fold. I don't know. In the UK and in Europe, with pre-orders now open and indicating a release date of May 6th. So again, United States users, United States customers get screwed because they planned, that was at the word at the very beginning of the year, they had planned, they brought the Signature to they were planning on bringing the Signature to the US, and they told us that the foldable was going to be available for the US later in the year. Well, guess what? It's later in the year. It's being released, and it's not being released in the United States. Once again, we get screwed. But if you're interested, customers pre-ordering in the UK and in Europe will receive a free Moto Watch and Moto Buds Loop, alongside significant discounts with pricing in the UK starting at, yikes, $1,800. Well, I guess that's 1,800 euros. And in Europe, Jesus Christ, I can't even believe I'm saying this, 2,000. I don't know what the conversion is, but I have is that pounds, euros and pounds? So one 17.99 and the other was 19.99. I don't know what the conversion rate is, especially for US dollars, but that seems very, very high. Yikes. Maybe if you're watching this, maybe you could chime in. I'm not too familiar with other currencies. I mean, a little bit, but as you can tell, I'm just struggling with these. So while pre-orders are shipping on May 6th, the release date for the US remains uncertain, as Motorola is offering a registration option for American consumers at this time. Registration. I did not even know that. Let's see. Moto Razr Fold. Oh boy, is this it? Is it coming to the US? Man, how do I get out of here? What the hell's going on? Why is this? Why is my why is this all jacked up? Boy, I tell you, let's just go to register and see what it says. Okay, so this is it right here. It's going to have the same specifications as the Signature, just a foldable, which is good news. The Signature is a fantastic device. Is a great device. In fact, I would still have one if I didn't have to buy 3 S26 Ultras. It's a, in fact, kind of looking to get another one, to be honest with you, at a good price. At a good price. I really like that phone. Now, let's see what this registration is, because it's not guaranteed it's coming to the United States. A registration is just giving them your information. It doesn't mean you're paying for one. It doesn't mean, oh, I put my money down, $100 deposit like the stupid Trump phone. No, this just tells them how many people are interested potentially in purchasing the phone. Now, I can definitely see Motorola saying, ah, shit, we only got 5,892 registrations, and then they'll say, well, is it really worth it to release it in the US? All this FCC crap. It's probably why they haven't made it available. I think this is a time burner, or a kind of just, let's just throw out a registration for if I'm speaking on Motorola's behalf, like behind the scenes at the Motorola headquarters in Chicago. I bet they're thinking, well, I don't know what's going on with this FCC thing. Should we release it? Should we not? Because if we do release it for the US and then the FCC screws us on the 30th, we're going to have to like refund all these people that order it. We may have to just cancel orders, or there may be a long delay, which will be a PR nightmare. Or I bet somebody said, yo, what if we just throw out a registration page, and then that'll buy us some time to kind of figure out what's going on with the FCC when the potential ban might come in effect on April the 30th. And then it'll also not only buy us time, but it'll also allow us to kind of see how many people are interested in this device. Now, I'm going to go ahead and sign up for this. Not now, but when this is over, I'm going to register, and just so I can keep up to date with what's going on with this release, so I can keep you up to date with what's going on with this device. But I can definitely see, and this is a smart move. I think, honestly, this is probably the best move, or the best decision Motorola could make in these times. Remember, this is kind of, this hadn't really happened like in the past as far as what's going on with the government, and we don't know if they're going to classify Motorola as a Chinese company or not. Again, it was started in America, at least I think it was, Motorola back in the day. It's been a US company for years, and but Lenovo now owns them. That's obviously based in China, so I don't know how the government is going to classify Motorola. And I think that's what they're kind of waiting on too, is it's like, well, we don't know what the hell's gonna happen. So if you want one, if you're even considering maybe getting one, just go ahead and sign up. If it is available, they say, hey, they'll let you know the latest updates, and they'll inform you when you can order. It looks really cool. So it does have stylus support. Eat your heart out. Samsung Fold 7 and Fold 8 with your No S Pen. This uses the Moto stylus. So really good phone, really good processor. They did promise to update these monthly. I can concur. When I had the Signature, I got a few updates, and I got, first of the month came around. Well, it wasn't the first, but they'll update them monthly. I'm going to hold them to that. If they don't, we can blast them, you and I together. But they're turning a corner for flagships. Remember, Signature gets monthly updates, and then now this Moto Razr Fold is supposed to get monthly updates. So I think the no update days are behind us, at least with the flagship Motorola phones. Okay, now, speaking of the FCC and this stupid Wi-Fi thing. So if you're unaware, the FCC put a ban on all Wi-Fi routers not made in the USA. Huh? Exactly. That's what I said. Now, I get this a little bit more than their phone thing. But still a headache. You know how many Linksys routers are out there? How many there's all sorts of routers out there. I mean, think of how many Wi-Fi routers are in the country. Businesses, residential, commercial, in the private sector, in the public sector. They're all over the place. Libraries, schools, homes, apartments, everywhere. Now they're saying you cannot use a Wi-Fi router that's not from and or based in the United States. Well, that essentially eliminates like 60%, if not more, routers in the United States. Meaning, if you follow what they say, you need to go get a new router. Now, I prefer the Google router. I've been using theirs for years and I love them, so it doesn't concern me, but I know I'm not the average person. If you have a Linksys router, if you have, just Google it. Look at the logo on your router and say, is Linksys router based in the USA? And if it says no, the FCC needs you to go buy a new router. They did let one slide by today. So just to give you an update, I promise you I would keep everybody updated. They're letting one non-USA router be available or on their okay list. Now, which one is that? It is the Netgear. Now, let's rewind. Why is the FCC so concerned about US-based routers? Well, is it because they want USA companies to make money? Probably. Is it to screw China and anywhere else these routers are made? Probably. And they are going to say, the FCC, Federal Communications Commission, is going to say, well, it's all security. We want you to be secure. You know, these routers, if they're made in China, the Chinese might put in a back door where they can access whatever you access on your internet, right? Yes, including even those websites. But it's very concerning. So they're going to scare you with the whole security thing, and I get it. But the chances of, if you're not a politician, if you're not a big shot CEO of a Fortune 500 company, if you're not a professional athlete, if you don't hold hundreds of Bitcoins in your crypto wallet, if you're just you and I, a normal person like you and I think really, is somebody in China really spying on us? No. But I guess, is it possible? I guess. But what's going on, Bradley? Appreciate you for joining us. It's been a while since I've seen you. Hope you're doing all right today, sir. The one that did get through is Netgear. Now, let's find out if it's just a specific router model or if it's all Netgear Wi-Fi routers. So the FCC started granting conditional approvals to certain Wi-Fi routers, allowing them to launch in the US market without posing any security risks. Netgear is among the first to receive this approval, with its routers cleared for sale in the US at least until next year, till they're gonna have to pay up again for another certification. See, I think that's what it is. Hang on. The broader policy isn't changing, meaning that new Wi-Fi routers launching in the US must pass a national security review before entering the market. So let's call a spade a spade. This is just a shakedown. This is just another way for the administration, for the government to make some side cash. So as I mentioned yesterday, the FCC approvals, the certifications are not cheap, and now they're holding this security thing over their heads and saying, you want to be approved? If you're not an American company, you got to pay triple to get under our new terms, under our new approval ratings. And now, like, shit. Don't get it twisted. This is exactly what they're doing. This is exactly what they're doing. And they're using security to scare everybody into believing that, you're not secure. You can't use this router. If we don't approve of it, it's one of those things. And you see Netgear give in and be like, all right, here's 3 times the amount to get certified. It's just a shakedown. Like, let's not be fooled here. I've seen them do this all the time. It is what it is. But if you want information on this topic and more, maybe you want to go deeper in to see maybe what models or this or that, go into the description box down below, click the link where it says show notes. You can pull up this article, you can pull up more, you can pull up all the information you need, because the first batch of approved Wi-Fi routers includes multiple Nighthawk and Orbi models from Netgear, as well as service grade routers from Adtran. So stuff like that I'm not going to dive into, but if you want to, please be my guest. Link down below, show notes. Now let's get into the last thing that I got, because I got to get out of here. How long have I been on? Yeah, I got to roll. So check this out. Best story of the day. Save the best for last. Qualcomm. The details are leaking on this new Qualcomm Snapdragon 8 Elite Gen 6. Now, they're going to do a Gen 6 and a Gen 6 Pro. It looks badass. And the best part about it, there's not going to be much difference between the regular model, the Gen 6, and the Pro model of the Gen 6. Pretty similar, and this is going to get you blazing. Remember, this is the cream of the crop, the very best mobile processor that Qualcomm has to offer. I have details here that are freaking mind-blowing. Now, you're not going to see an enormous CPU boost, because remember, every year they come out with a new flagship. They're like, oh, we got 42% performance boost year over year. Oh, we have 39%. Oh, we got 53% boost year over year. This year you're going to get like a 14 to 19% CPU boost in performance, but where you're going to see the biggest jump is GPU performance. Give me a second. The GPU performance is going to be insane. That's where you're going to see the big leap in performance. Now, what's the difference between the regular 8 Elite Gen 6 and the Pro Gen 6 Pro? Well, not that much, honestly, and that's a good thing. That means that the next generation Motorola signature that'll probably have the base Gen 6 is going to see an enormous performance boost over the regular 8 Gen 5. Again, they're changing the names again. I don't know why they do this. So stupid, because it makes it harder for me and you to remember all of this. Yeah, it's ridiculous. It's absolutely insane. I'm like, I thought we were finally going to Qualcomm. I'm going to at you in this video, like I do every video. Your naming scheme is ridiculous. You got it. I thought we were kind of gonna have something set in stone with this 8 Elite Gen 5 and 8 Gen 5. Even that was weird, and now you go and change it on us again. So the base flagship CPU will be 8 Elite Gen 6, and the cream of the crop, the best, very best, will have the Pro moniker on the very end. It'll be Elite Gen 6 Pro. Now, they're going to introduce what they're doing with their L3. I think it's the L3 cache. It's kind of very technical. If you want to dive into it, please be my guest, but I don't want to misspeak. But basically what they're doing is they're essentially keeping it the same. Now, the Pro will be overclocked a little bit more. But this gets me really excited, because typically you won't see a jump in UFS storage. Usually UFS storage doesn't upgrade every single year. Well, this new Pro CPU from Snapdragon is gonna bring us UFS storage 5.0. That makes me very excited. Now, the regular Elite Gen 6, I have to look down at the name so I don't misspeak. The regular 8 Elite Gen 6 is going to be UFS storage 4.1. That's what Well, if you're a Samsung user, they gypped us on UFS storage because we have 4.0. OnePlus 15's got 4.1. Well, the regular 8 Elite Gen 6 will have the regular 4.1, which is still very fast. But this new UFS storage 5.0 is supposed to see an enormous performance boost. And that helps with usability of your phone, how fast and fluid your phone can transfer information and data from within the phone, right? So they're going to introduce UFS storage 5.0. They have this new L3 cache. They have more lanes, data information. Without sounding too nerdy, they just improve on everything like they have every other year. But you're going to see enormous GPU boosts. If you want this specific information, show notes down in the link, so down in the description. Qualcomm is taking a more ethical approach to reducing the performance gap between standard Snapdragon 8 Elite Gen 6 and its Pro counterpart, avoiding the practice of deliberately hobbling the base model to drive sales to the more expensive option, right? Now, the vanilla Snapdragon 8 Elite Gen 6 is expected to feature a 2+3+3 Orion CPU architecture, 16 megabytes L2 cache, 12 megabytes GMEM, and 6 megabytes SLC, supporting LPDDR5X, and UFS storage 4.1. Now, the Pro model is getting LPDDR6 RAM and UFS storage 5.0. So you can see how they're essentially rolling the Gen 6 is the kind of the Snapdragon 8 Elite Gen 5 with the specs. Now the Snapdragon 8 Elite Gen 6 is going to use DDR6 RAM and UFS storage 5.0. So it looks to be crazy awesome. The Pro model will likely have more cache and peripheral specifications, including LPDDR6, as I mentioned. The performance difference is anticipated to be minimal because they're not skipping the base model. The base model could be the flagship model of the year. It would, if they just brought the Snapdragon 8 Elite Gen 6, everybody would be like, whoa, that's badass. But that just goes to show you how much more they're bringing with the Pro, with LPDDR6 RAM and UFS storage 5.0. Now, they have a brand new GPU. I mentioned you're really going to see a boost in GPU performance. Both variants. So they're not skipping GPU performance on the base or the Pro model. Both models are going to have the same GPU performance, and it's going to be mind-blowing. So it's a brand new Adreno 845 GPU with the standard model featuring 6 slices and 12 megabytes of graphics cache, a significant upgrade from the previous generation's only 3 slices of graphics cache, meaning more data can transfer to and from, right? So this strategy by Qualcomm may impact the demand for the Pro variant, as the standard Snapdragon 8 Elite Gen 6 appears to be very capable for a wide range of flagship OEMs. So let's see what phone companies are going to put this in their phone, because you start to think about it, you're like, damn, that's a badass CPU. But what phone is it going to be in? Well, I can guarantee you the Pro variant is going to be in the S27 series. Well, I take that back, S27 Ultra. I guarantee you. Now, so they'll have, remember this year they skipped us on UFS storage? Well, this one should have UFS 5.0 and LPDDR6 RAM. Now, where's the Gen 6 going to go, the base model? Because Samsung's trying to make the turn, trying to make the transition to their Exynos CPU. So they're not just going to put the base S27 and S27 Plus with the Gen 6, the base Gen 6. No, they're going to put their Exynos CPUs in there, the Exynos 2700. So the S27 Ultra and S27 Pro, it's the Ultra with no S Pen, is going to get this 8 Elite Gen 6 Pro. What other phones are going to get it? Because Pixel uses their own CPUs. Apple obviously uses their own CPUs. I think you're going to see this in a lot of Chinese phones. Oppo, Vivo, and I hope nothing in the phone 4 puts the base 80 Elite Gen 6 in the Nothing Phone 4. Remember, it's not coming out this year, but for next year, prices should come down, and that means Nothing should hopefully put that in there, Nothing Phone 4, because they did give us an S version of the what was in the Nothing Phone 3, the 8S Gen 4. The S is more geared towards like AI functionality, but they got blasted for putting the S model on a flagship phone. It was $800 and it had a not so flagship CPU. I don't think, at least I hope they don't make the same mistake again. So I think you'll see the 80 Elite Gen 6, the base model CPU in the Nothing Phone 4, and then it'll be in a bunch of Chinese phones, right? Including OnePlus. If the OnePlus 16 comes out in China, it'll have the Pro variant, and it looks like Samsung will be the only US phone company to put this in their devices. Now, probably Motorola, since they had the 8 Gen 5, the watered down flagship model. Well, this year the base CPU is going to be a lot more stronger, so I expect to see the next signature, possibly the next Razer Fold, to have the Snapdragon 80 Elite Gen 6 in there. Looks pretty badass. Do a video where you make your dream phone, like which OS, chip, camera, etc. from each phone company would you use? That's a really good recommendation. However, I don't know if I would be the best at it, because I think I'm limited to only a few phones. Like, of course I can make one for you if you want to, but I've never used a Vivo phone. I've never used a Huawei phone. I've never used an Oppo phone. Like, I think there's a lot of missing, to be honest with you. Just to be completely honest with you, again, we get screwed here in the US with these phones. And I know I can go buy one on eBay. I know, and I probably need to, but I think I would like their cameras better. If you just want me to do a US version, I can do that. The phones I'm used to using, OnePlus, Samsung, Apple, Motorola, I could, but I really think you need, the whole world, all the phones in the world to be included. I could, though. We'll see. 5.0 sounds sweet if the phone manufacturer uses it, unlike Samsung. Ooh, I know. They're going to get blasted if they don't bring us at least 5.0 UFS storage 5.0 in the Ultra model or the Pro model. They are expected to raise the prices next year. So why do you think Apple can get away with abysmal battery life in phones and 60 hertz displays and laptops? Because people are brainwashed. People are brainwashed into thinking Apple is the very best. It's a material, it's a status symbol. And, we all know the average iPhone user, their head is in the clouds. They're not really aware, They just, Apple puts out a product and they just immediately buy it because, I don't want to use a Droid, or, I don't want to use a Windows laptop or anything like that. They're just brainwashed. I mean, real people like you and I that know what's going on, doesn't make any sense. Why would you buy a laptop 60 hertz LCD display when my freaking laptop I'm looking at right now has got a 4K OLED display, 120 hertz refresh rate? Like, it blows a MacBook away, spec wise, so, well, CPU, they do have an edge on CPUs, but if you're thinking about the CPU, you'll be thinking about the display and then the refresh rate. So typically it's people that just worried about status symbols and all that stupid stuff. Apple can get away with it and they know it. That's why they don't ever change anything, because they know people will buy it regardless of what they put in it. Of course, there'll be some people that complain or make YouTube videos about it or make fun of them, like you and I. I love to troll Apple. But for the most part, they're not worried about me. They're not worried about you. They know 99% of people just buy it because it's the newest thing, or maybe even if they don't buy the newest MacBook, let's say they have a 6-year-old MacBook, maybe the battery's shot. Maybe they don't want to spend, $3,000 on a new MacBook Pro. Well, they might upgrade to a 2-year-old MacBook, right? Well, it's like, they just stick to Apple. Apple does a good job of locking you in to their services, their app stores, their music. And look, Google does that too. Samsung does that too. So they're not the only ones doing it. I'm not singling them out, but they're very good at locking you in to their ecosystem. So people are just man, brainwashed. That's just what it comes down to. I mean, that's just I don't know. If you have any better ideas, let me know. But that's pretty much what it comes down to. Most people in the US buy iPhones mainly because they're so used to the iOS ecosystem, right? And if you think about it, Apple products outside of the US are mad expensive. And I didn't even realize that, honestly, until maybe a couple years ago. We actually have, is he here today? We have a viewer that lives in Argentina, and then another one in Brazil. They were saying just last month, what's going on, Daniel? They were saying just how last month, just how expensive iPhones are. If you take if you buy an iPhone Pro Max right now here, an unlocked one, for what, $1,200, you just pay cash. Take it down to Brazil, put it up for sale. Boom, you can ask for triple. You can ask for like maybe just under triple, maybe for like $3,000, and probably sell it for like 2,500, like 2.5 times its value. I mean, what you bought it for. It's like, oh my God. And it's like that all around the world, because it's the opposite, right? It'd be like the opposite of us having to buy a Vivo or an Oppo to import it. Well, the Apple's the opposite, right? Because they're here in the US. So selling it overseas, you get so expensive. Makes it even more dumb, right? I'm like, who would pay $2,500 for an iPhone? Like, somebody would have to pay me to use that iPhone. In fact, I don't even use mine. But yeah, ecosystem, they certainly are. 60 hertz. Yeah. Well, that's the other thing, is they're rated at 120 ProMotion, and I think they're only rated at like 87 or 82 actual refresh rate. Now, I can never go back to 60 on any device that I have, whether it's a laptop, a phone, a tablet. I'm not going back to 60. There's a noticeable difference between 60 and 90 hertz. I can do 90. I can certainly do 90, because I can't really tell the difference between 90 and 120. But 90 and 60, oh, it's night and day. It's night and day. But no, I'm never going. Laptop, tablet, phone, never doing it. I'm almost at the point where I won't use anything that's not AMOLED, you know? Like, there's some laptops out there that I was kind of looking at, or I think there's a new OnePlus tablet, and I was like, damn, that's really good specs. And I get down to the bottom, I'm like, oh shit, it's LCD. You know, I'm like, damn it, I gotta have OLED, and I gotta have fast refresh rate. Even though, look, a couple of reviews I've seen on it, they said, oh, the nice crisp display, and I'm sure they've gotten better over the years, but it's just not the same. Yeah, 90 on it, yeah, it's perfect. It's absolutely perfect. iPhone E is still 60. I mean, yeah, 17E. What the hell is going on out here? I Justified Misogyny says, I used a OnePlus Pad tablet, still LCD, but yeah, 3K, 3.4K resolution and 144 hertz. I used to use MacBook Air. Yeah, that's the one I think I was talking about. I haven't used LCD. Actually, I take that back. I have LCD. Well, it's a Samsung 43-inch 4K monitor here, hanging on the wall that y'all can't see. But that can't be AMOLED. One of the screens I have in front of me is AMOLED. My external display is AMOLED. My laptop is AMOLED. And this one, I have another 27-inch 4K monitor in front of me that's LCD. I can tell the big difference. LCD, AMOLED. LCD, AMOLED. Night and day. But buying everything AMOLED is mad expensive. Especially if you buy a big monitor. You know how the price jumps up, or the TVs now with the mini LEDs, prices go way up. So, you know, can't have everything AMOLED, although I wish I could, just can't. But yeah, I'm sure it looks good, and maybe if I see it in person, you know, it might change my mind. I'm sure they've gotten it pretty close at this point. Pretty freaking close. But listen, I gave myself just under an hour for this live stream. I'm sitting at what, 52 minutes. So I'm gonna have to get out of here. I do appreciate the time. Again, if you want to see the show notes, please go down in the description box down below. I hope everybody has a wonderful, wonderful day. I got to catch up on some work because I spent a good majority of the day making sure my taxes were in order and filing those. So, but I did want to jump on here and see what's going on to everybody, and hope everybody has a wonderful day, and hope everybody has a safe afternoon. And we will see you. I'll definitely be back tomorrow. Maybe we'll do a giveaway here. I think it's been, I don't know, maybe about a week or 5 days since I've done a giveaway. So maybe we'll do one tomorrow. So anyways, let me roll. I do appreciate the time, and I'll see you mañana. Peace.